7:02.
7:02? Alrighty. Good evening, folks. Gonna open the meeting up at 7:02 with the full board present and town administrator and recording secretary. Alrighty, I think the first order of business is the minutes. Who wants to do the honors?
I can do it.
Alright, on both of them?
Sure.
Alright,
Alright, I will, make a motion to approve the, regular selecting meeting minutes from Thursday, September 8th at 7:01 as written.
And second?
alright. Any discussion, gents?
No, I'm good.
No, that's all.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It looked real good. Only had a couple of minor things I think I put in, changed, that was it. Getting better at it. We're almost there.
Really?
Yeah, no, I mean, seriously, I went right through it, it's like, I think I got an abbreviation or something, I opened it up and she was signing it. And I just put it in
Take two
there.
out of that.
Yeah,
So,
great.
Okay.
Trying.
no,
Yeah, the only thing is I set my invoice over with planning board instead of the selectmen's meeting.
that's between you and Lee.
Yeah, I know. I almost forgot to send it, so I rushed and I didn't check everything. There you go, sir.
Alright, there's one for you.
Alright, and I'll make a motion to, approve the, non-public meeting minutes from Thursday, September 8th at 7:56 PM as written.
And a second.
Alright, any discussion?
I made the changes that needed to be made.
What was the time on that, Tom?
7:56.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll make a motion that we seal the non-public meeting minutes from Thursday, September 8th.
I'll second that. Any discussion on sealing them?
Thank you,
I
Dan.
guess so, no, but, you know, there's some of those that I think don't really need to be sealed, but I don't
It's
care.
kind of a personnel in nature.
Personnel in nature, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know if I was the person in the minutes, I'd want them
okay.
sealed.
well,
Personally, that's why I don't have a problem second on it.
I think we had a legal opinion on it, I'll try to find it and
Yeah.
show it to him. As to how to go through the process of sealing and the
Yeah,
recommendations to identify the difference. But I have an email from our town attorney that I'll pull out and show
she's
it
gonna
to you.
sign it as well. Alright, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright, when she foreign signs it, we'll
Oh, I'm
seal.
sorry.
Alright.
You were too busy writing.
That's my job.
Do you need to write something else on here, or are you all set with that?
Late as usual, there he is.
Yeah, I'm all set with
Cause
that.
I know we sealed some one time and didn't,
Yeah, I just put the date and then I,
okay,
it's moved to a different folder, so you can.
alright. There it is.
How you doing?
Good.
Hello. Excuse me.
Good evening, Jeff.
Hey.
Boy. Let me see what's up. Alrighty,
Okay.
everybody good?
Yep.
Alright, I'm gonna open public comment, what we do in the beginning, so. Since you're just here in the nick of time, public comment, you got anything you wanna speak to?
Oh,
You all set, Lou?
Yep.
Alright, and, sorry? I assume you're David J.
Yeah,
right?
I am.
Okay,
David J, live at 28 Ordway Road.
this is public comment, this is just
Oh,
for anything.
I don't have.
I know you're on the agenda front, you know, if you wanna talk about, you know, the town hall or something like that, you know, whatever's on your mind. Also, ladies,
Not at this time.
alrighty, hearing no comments, we're gonna close public comment. Now, The floor is yours,
There you go.
Mr. J.
Good evening, everybody. I live at 28 Ordway Road in Dunbarton. I'm basically here to ask the board's assistance with drafting a petition warrant article to have Ordway Road paved. I came in a couple of years ago and sat before the board and talked about having the road paved. Over the last year or two, just talking with Jeff, it's come to my attention that, you know, with the limited budget that the town has, it's very hard sometimes to get roads paved that are dirt.
Yep.
And I understand, you know, the town's predicament there, so I thought maybe the best course of action would be to ask the taxpayers to assist us with that and get the proper signatures for that and go that route rather than try to put the burden on the, you know, for the town to try to find the extra money out of their regular budget for it.
Yep.
So,
Alrighty.
I mean, you know, I've had some discussions with Jeff. I've talked with the homeowners on the road. There's some longtime homeowners that are actually been there quite a while, like, Chris Averill, who now she's one of the people, I did have something signed by certain people that I sent into Lean 2 years ago, but I didn't understand the whole process with the petition warrant article, so it was only, you know, just 8 or 10 signatures
Right.
at the time. So, I spoke with Lean and she said something to me about.
Because this is a fairly new board, just to educate you, the part that he's talking about is about a mile long, you said?
No, it's not even, it's 4/10 of a mile.
4/10 of a mile,
Yeah.
okay,
And it's
Well,
paved
that's
on,
2,200 feet.
Yeah,
it's
so,
paved on the other end of it. when it
Yeah.
goes to South Pole.
right.
it's a
And
I
through,
live on Twist Hill, so I'm very
Okay.
familiar with your area.
so it's a through road.
I know Twist Hill.
It's become
how
quite
many
a-
houses?
yeah.
How many houses?
There's 5 houses on one side of the road and the other side has 2 landowners, Arthur Bodett
Yeah, I
and,
know Arthur.
Dennis Ordway.
I used to work for Arthur.
Okay, so Arthur did sign the form for me, I don't think he'd be a problem. Dennis, like we spoke before, he's kind of back and forth because he owns a big chunk of land and, I don't know, he kind of mentioned to me, I might not wanna get it paved because that might prompt him to build houses, but I'm not quite sure why he was saying that. You know, I don't think traffic-wise, the traffic has definitely increased, we've been there for 14 years now. But I think one of the biggest parts is, you know, it's kind of a through road, you know,
Yep.
now, and it's not like it's a dead end, it's not a cul-de-sac. I don't, you know,
What about drainage and such, Jeff? Cause I mean, you pave it, you don't wanna do it right.
Well,
You're not
it's
gonna-
a gravel road, so
Right.
it has some issues, that David can say, it gets muddy in some spots.
I've seen the,
We try to,
right on the Twist Hill.
yeah, I mean,
sometimes,
we try to put a little gravel on it every
Yeah.
once in a while, and keep it, a number of years ago, when they did the subdivision that David's lot came from, and I
it's
don't,
wider there. than
yeah,
it is.
the guy down around the
Dave,
corner, used to be Hollis's or something, in that house, you know where the Hollis's?
Yeah,
are?
I went to school with houses. Yeah, it was,
I can't remember the guy that lives there now, he does siding.
Zylac.
Yeah,
Dave
Zylac.
Zylac, that's
I
why
went to school with
I
Dave
David
as well.
Ritz Zylac.
He came to the town and did a subdivision, and at that time, the planning board required him to give some of the land to increase the right of way, in case anything was ever done. And I think he had to, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, he may had to do a little bit of limited work, like cut the trees, pull the stumps out or something.
Yeah, they did, because
Yeah, I think that was
it's
part of the
pretty
deal,
wide.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it's widened
Yeah.
from the start of my property heading towards the
Yes,
low
the
line, all
last,
the way.
the 3 lots of that subdivision. And then I think they did that and just kinda graded it off a little bit, and then a number of years ago, the town, when I was road agent, we went in, we removed some rock and ledge to help the drainage there and make
Yeah,
it a
I remember
little
that.
easier to snow plow, and added some crushed gravel in and stuff. But pretty much stayed within the limits and brought it up to kind of that informal dimension the planning board's using now of 18 feet of travel way with 2 foot of shoulder on each side. And that's basically the condition of the road right now.
There's one area, Jeff will say, the corner,
Yeah,
it's snug on that corner, but other than that.
and that, you know, when David came in before the previous board of selectmen, we kinda knocked it around and talked about it. And, you know, if anything was ever done with Ordway's piece of property,
No, yeah, Dennis's.
Yeah, so it would, yeah. I mean, I'm sure the town would require him to give up some land to increase the right of way, so some work could be done to that corner to increase it. It's got ledge that comes out of the ground there, and it's just a bad drainage area. So, I mean, yeah, it would need some work. We patch it together now, it gets a little muddy, we put some gravel on it, I mean, obviously, certain times of year it's pretty nasty, other times it isn't. So, I mean, you wouldn't be starting from scratch, but we changed the culverts, I should back up to, any culverts that need to be changed, when we did that work, we changed them at that time, upgraded them. So, you know, that's what it is, you know, I mean, it would, at the bare minimum, it would probably need a little cleaning here and there, and, you know, at least 6 inches of gravel put on the whole thing, the whole length of it, before you would pave it.
Right, well, I mean, it's,
Like I said, at the bare minimum.
in doing a petition warrant article, the town.
Yeah,
would
we gotta
say,
come
hey,
up with a
we're gonna-
dollar
yeah,
figure
I mean,
of what it's gonna,
Yeah,
and that would be the other thing, as I said, is, right now, what is there is it basically 18 with a 2 and 2. And there's plenty of room to widen it out a little bit in front of David's property, and the other 2 properties heading toward
The bow line.
toward the bow. And the others, it's kinda hit or miss, there's bankings or whatever. So I would think that somebody or somehow gonna come up with a dimension of what the pavement would be, whether it would be 18, 20, or 22. Twist Hill Road is basically 20 feet,
yes.
which is narrow. A few years ago, we went in and repaved what was there, and actually we dug the shoulders back, put some under drainage in and drainage, and it gives it the illusion that it's a wider road than it is, and helps out dramatically with the snow removal. But at the end of the day, it's still just a 20-foot road, which is a little narrow.
Maybe, that's probably maybe for Twist Hill, but I don't think that would be too narrow for Ordway.
Well, I don't know, I mean, we'd
Well,
have
the thing
to
is, we have a town
knock
that's
that around.
standard. Yeah, the town has adopted a standard to the planning board and everything, as far as roads, like any new roads being constructed, has to be a certain dimension
Yeah.
and construction. And my personal opinion, I can't speak for these 2 gentlemen, is that we'd wanna try to stick to that standard if we're gonna take and put
Absolutely.
asphalt on that, because we don't wanna have to
Sure.
have him go back 5 years later and have to redo it all over again, because it's all still up, because of,
Well, the only difference with that is that would be on a whole new subdivision, not an existing
Right.
road.
but I mean.
So there's a little gray area. there.
Absolutely, but I mean,
You
we wanna try to keep it as,
Yeah.
you know, we wanna
Yeah.
walk the walk, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
As close as we can within reason.
Absolutely,
I mean, when we do our own road projects, we don't get into knocking the stone walls back and
Right.
extreme edges like that, unless we've got a bad spot and the landowner's willing to, hey, let us do something
Right,
to
they would do it
increase
with
our
tolerance and
situation.
such.
Yeah, to increase our situation, but for the most part, you know, it's pretty hard to get the 24 feet up,
Oh, absolutely,
you know, and that's why Twist Hill Road is 20.
Yeah.
You know, having said that, that would be a discussion, and I don't know at what level that plan gets knocked out. I mean, I threw some numbers together, and I'm willing just to share them with you, just for,
Absolutely.
you know, just some quick numbers, they're not
So
cast in
it's
stone.
approximately 2,200 feet.
Yeah, 2,200 feet long. If you were to just pave it, just to give you an idea of what type of money we're talking about, with 3 inches of asphalt, which would be a base and a top layer, at 18 feet wide, it would be $48,000, just for the paving aspect of it. So if you went up to 20 feet wide, it
How much
increased
was that, Jeff?
48,000.
Okay,
And it's actually, it works out that if you, I mean, these, I rounded them off, it
Yeah,
might
sure,
be
sure.
48 to something, but
Mhm.
if you go to 20 feet wide, it goes up to 53, it increases by 5,000.
Now, that number's come down, cause I remember that.
Well,
It
that's,
was a
yeah,
lot higher.
well,
years ago.
that's just, asphalt actually, since you were in, has gone down, that's our current price today, it's
Okay.
54.50. If we went to 22 feet wide, it would be 58,000. And then what it costs us to have the road fine graded before the paving would be $3,500. And I used 6 inches of crushed gravel for the, you know, basically 28 feet wide. I took the worst case scenario and
Yeah.
used that number instead of breaking it all down and boring you with details, cause you have to have shoulders and all that. At $15 a yard in places, 15,000. And then another 5 to 10 on miscellaneous things, you know, trying to widen it out a little bit here and there, and some grading. So you can actually use that same formula and take the 48, add 28.5 to that, you get a number of 76,500. And then if you increase it to 20, you
Right.
go up 5, and you go 22, you go up another 5. You follow that?
Yep.
So, I mean, that,
It'd be a chunk out of the operating budget, that's for sure.
well, yeah, I mean, and I told this to David,
Yeah,
we
and
do in the
I
past.
understand that, and that's
Yeah.
kinda why I figured I'd go this road.
Yep.
I'll try to, you know,
Absolutely.
the,
plead to the public about it, and, you know, if it happens, it happens, if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Right.
I just thought this is a better way rather than
Mhm.
come in here and each year after year and, you know, feel like I'm yanking people's chain.
yeah,
Mhm.
To me, it's easier for me to stand up in front of the townspeople at the meeting and say, this is what we'd like to have done, we'd like your help.
Yeah.
the previous board, they weren't particularly receptive. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
and I mean, I told David, yes, it would make my life easier if it was paved.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, it'd be much easier to maintain and make, but
he's got
I'm torn because we have a lot of asphalt roads that need work, and it's,
Mhm.
you take that much money on something that's already gravel, if we just keep
Yeah.
playing with it, and putting a little money in it, it seems to get by.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, that probably would be the decision for the taxpayer to decide how they wanna do that. I don't think that's an unreasonable request. Your neighbor down the street, Brian Nordell, he brought his Purgatory Pond project into the town, and the townspeople voted to change it to a class 5 road from class 6, but he has some upgrading he has to do, which he hasn't done at this point yet.
Right.
So, I mean, you never know what the temperament of the board's gonna be. That really isn't costing, that wasn't gonna cost them any money.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I understand this will cost them this, you know,
Yeah.
cost the taxpayers some money, and I think one of the, you know, the biggest thing for us, and I think some of my neighbors, is it's just, I don't think it would be such a big deal if it wasn't a continuation road.
Mhm.
Well, we seem to be getting a lot of through traffic with, dump trucks and so forth now,
Really?
yeah. So, at least, I would say throughout the summer, at least 4 or 5 days, it was continuous,
Wow.
probably
Well, if
50.
somebody's doing a project.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, it's a quicker access, and I understand it, I don't really have a problem with the trucks on the road, it's just very dusty and,
Mhm.
you know.
And this year's been extremely
Dry.
dusty.
Yeah.
But it, you know, again, it's,
Oh, it makes sense.
what David's saying is correct. I mean, it goes somewhere, it's not a dead end road, it goes to Bowen. And we found that with all our, I mean, we found that with all our town roads, traffic has increased more because people use them to cut across.
Oh, yeah, I see Twist Hill Road, and when they have a holiday weekend, everybody and their brothers using to get off the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get
Have
off
you
exit
seen
1 and
that?
come down.
Oh, yeah, I see it from my house, I'll look out there and just watch it
Oh
go.
my gosh, I
it's-
went from my land home one day and counted 45 Massachusetts plates, and
Yeah,
that was not
it's-
New Hampshire,
Yeah.
in a row, from
Yeah.
Twist Hill Morse to
Mhm.
the house, which is less than 3 miles.
Because you hop on down on
They
exit
were
10
just
down
going
there, so you
Yeah.
avoid the toll. It's just a fact of life, I mean,
Yeah.
and with the increased growth in other towns, it's brought it up.
I'm not sure, I know
Yeah, I
Jeff,
don't know GPSs too, because now they know,
Yes.
they can find it.
I believe Jeff did have some road counts done, but he hasn't gotten the results.
Yeah, I don't know if we did that at Bo, we put in some rows to be counted, and I looked at my notes and I didn't, cause you
Well,
asked
I
me that.
did see it was on the Dunbarton, it was
Yeah,
on the
it-
dirt part, so.
Yeah, I put it on a list of roads to have counted, but I didn't know if it got done or not.
Yeah,
And we'll get the feedback, probably won't be for
I mean,
6
I don't,
months.
you know.
Yeah.
It's not crazy every single day, I'm not saying there's a million cars coming down the road, but the traffic has increased over time, so. And I just, the reason coming to the board, Lean said if I asked for assistance, I figured that way things get written up properly
Absolutely.
to the town's,
Oh, that's what we're here for.
town's liking, so.
But and you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you gotta come up with a real kind of a plan with a number on what it would.
That'd be good, I mean, yeah.
I mean, you
let's
could
work-
have a little wiggle room in
Yeah.
the number, I understand, but, and I don't know who would wanna make that decision, how much, I mean.
I mean, well, it depends on how you write, I mean, you just say, I just wanna get it asphalted, and, you know, you've got a number for asphalt, you just throw it down there now, and you're
Yeah,
done.
Yeah, but I don't think that'd be wise.
Exactly.
I wouldn't,
And I don't think anyone in the town would take it.
no, I wouldn't
That doesn't
really
make
wanna
sense.
do that. It would be good for a few years.
That's about all it'd be good for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then we'd have a bigger issue later on, so.
we wouldn't want that, but I honestly, I don't know how we come up with that number, I mean, I'm not, you know,
Oh,
well, I'm not, you know, I'm not
Oh.
qualified to.
well, just some.
So,
of
I
this
mean,
is-
do we look at,
Oh.
do we look at a higher, you know, what is the standard, do we know what the standard is for the roads in the town?
Well, if you put a brand new subdivision in, it's 24 feet,
Okay,
24 feet.
do we have that?
No, well, you'd have to really do a lot to achieve 24 feet.
Okay.
With
'Cause
a
I mean-
with a 4-foot shoulder.
Yeah, the hardest part is that corner. I mean,
Yes.
And I don't know how long.
And we had talked about this before, that, you know, maybe if Waterways did some development with their project, you know, they could give up some land and we could address that corner and make it
Yeah, I
a
don't,
little more friendly.
Maybe also,
But, I mean,
we probably have some prescriptive rights, you could take some out anyway if you had to.
maybe we could always go ask him.
Yeah,
I mean, you
yeah.
never know, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know him at all.
I've talked to him.
Yeah.
I didn't get the feeling in talking to him, he didn't say yay or nay either way, but at first he was trying to tell me that he thought the road couldn't be paved, that it had some historical or heritage, and we talked the last time that it didn't have anything
it's
on
not
it.
on the scenic list.
And then, I think he realizes what may happen is if we did pave the road and maybe we got the 20 or 22 feet, whatever, on that corner, that if he does come, that it's gonna cost him more down the road though if he puts in, and then the town says, well, we want this corner straightened out more, and if you want your development,
Mhm.
you're gonna be paying for it.
Right.
So I think he understands that, I just don't know, you know,
Well, that'd be a legitimate argument for the planning board, that they'd probably
Yeah,
think that's.
definitely,
so.
that's where that part of that would happen.
So
in the
down,
planning.
you know, and that's his choice. To me, I love the way the town's set up with the 5 acre minimum, so if he develops his land, he develops his land. It's not, to me, it's, you know, that's his
Changes
land,
another
it's
way.
his business, not my business. So, but I guess my point is, yeah, I'd like to help, you know, what number did we come up with?
Yeah, well, I would think, and I'm just throwing this out there, maybe, I didn't measure this, but I don't know what Bo's width of that road is, on the other end.
Yeah, I guess we could find
Yeah,
it.
I never thought of measuring it. I mean, we know what Twist Hill is, 20 on our end,
Well, I know, well,
And
I go down
it's-
South Bow and I see it,
Yeah.
you know, South Bow Dunbarton
Yep.
Road is to my right, and it looks like a normal, you know, full width road. So
Yeah,
It's gotta be at least, you know, close to 22 foot wide.
yeah, they've done
asphalt.
some work on it over the
Yeah, they
years, so
have,
Bo
yeah.
has, so.
I mean,
it is-
I could measure it,
Yeah.
I'd be happy to measure it right at the,
Mhm.
right where the dirt meets it, I mean,
somewhere
wherever the
in
normal road, the width of, what looks like the normal width of the road, you need to get back to Jeff, so that Jeff would have a,
Well, I mean, Jeff is our subject matter expert when it comes
Yep.
to coming up with the numbers for these particular projects.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I'm not a civil engineer.
I would wanna personally
Mhm.
see it at the 22,
Mhm.
because 20 is a little bit narrow, and I mean, again,
Mhm.
you've indicated that traffic has increased
Yeah.
in the 14 years since you've been there. So I mean, you almost gotta kinda look ahead to the next 14
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And a lot of towns have actually gone away from the 24-foot wide roadway, and they've actually narrowed them down. Goffstown doesn't do very much 24, but again, they're trying to work within the right-of-ways, those old right-of-ways as much as possible.
so
And, so I mean, I, you know, any less than that, I personally wouldn't be happy.
at 22 feet, what did you have for like a total number there?
58,000 for the paving, and with all that other related work I
Yeah.
talked about, came to a total of 86.5.
Because, you know, I as a person that lives there, I want it done properly.
Oh,
And I don't,
You want it to
I
last.
don't, in terms of the warrant article,
Mhm.
it is what it is. I would rather have the warrant article higher and get it done properly if the people were to vote than to try to be like, let's cut it low and
Mhm.
because it's gonna cost the taxpayer a little less money. You're talking over the, you know, I don't know
It's
what the
gonna cost us
number
more
was.
later to fix it.
Yeah, and that's why I'd rather have it done properly and
but
if it, you know, if it got to that point.
even at that, I mean, it's still New England, we go through.
Oh, no, I
cost of
understand.
everything.
Oh, yes,
It's just,
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a crapshoot.
I mean,
I mean,
truly
when we
digging
were
down.
doing our roads, we try to do the best job we can to control the water, but on the other side of the coin is, we don't have that unlimited budget, so you can't do everything, you know, like you'd really like to, cause you just wouldn't get anything done, you wouldn't get anything done. So it's a balancing
Do
act.
you think that 86.5 would be a number where you could get that road to the width you want?
Well,
and-
I think if I was gonna ask for the warrant article, I think I would round it up to like an even 90.
Okay.
Just, not,
That's what I was thinking.
86.5 is kind of an arbitrary number.
Yeah,
Right now, that's our asphalt paving price this year as we're sitting here.
yeah,
Who knows what next year's gonna bring? I mean, nobody's forecasting a big increase, but if it does, the price of oil goes up dramatically, the price of asphalt
Yeah.
goes up.
now what happens, let's say, because if the warrant article would be in, the 2017 town meeting,
Mm-hmm.
so that got voted through,
Mhm.
and so that starts July
Oh.
2000, that budget
That right
starts?
then and there.
Oh, it starts right then and there, okay,
We're a calendar year town,
okay,
and, but our town meeting is in March, so we're already 3 months into the actual fiscal year,
okay.
so we're kinda starting behind.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it started at the,
No,
in July.
we're not-
That particular year,
Okay.
it would be ready, you could actually use the money the next day.
Yeah.
what happens if that, let's say it was 10,000, that it would cost you because, let's say something crazy happened with the elections or who knows what,
Yeah,
and all of a sudden the cost is that much more, and let's say it was gonna, Jeff had it figured, we rounded up a little bit, but next thing you know, it was 95,000 or 100,000, how does that get taken care of?
Well, I would think if it's not in the warrant article, then, you know, obviously, it would have to come out of his operating budget, most likely.
yeah, I would think we would have got the message, and correct me if I'm wrong, from the townspeople, if they said, yes, we wanna do it, and things out of everybody's control, and it ended up being 5,000 more, I think
Mhm.
my mind, I
Yeah.
feel the town would be obligated to,
Yeah.
okay. do
Okay.
it.
I mean,
I mean, if it was $100,000, then
Yeah,
I'd have
no,
to
I
revisit
understand,
it.
yeah, no,
But-
I understand that,
keep everything in perspective, I mean,
Sure.
'cause, I mean, the operating budget's gonna absorb a little bit, but.
yeah.
I mean,
And like I said, if it passed at town meeting, that's kinda what if the people said, yeah, do it, I mean, you kinda,
Exactly, you gotta do it,
well, I mean,
it's a legal directive from
yeah,
the town.
yeah, and you've got a sense of direction, you're not doing something that you decided to do. I mean, I wouldn't have any problem.
Is there any other questions that anyone else has for me?
Wanna
No,
add to it?
I'm good.
No, I don't have.
Good discussion.
So is that something that Lean will draw up and you'll get,
Can work
me to get
with it.
signatures?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I have a template that I can pass
You
on
have
to
to,
you.
he has to get the signatures.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
just
yeah,
give him the
but
language.
I know you'll do it.
We're just gonna help him write it up.
Yeah,
because, I mean,
Cause it's gotta meet the,
you'll just contact me or
State
well,
something.
see that we gotta rewrite it anyway when it comes in, if it's
I
not
have
done
your
right
email.
through the
I'll send you an email
DRA,
with
so
some
get it
information.
right
he
the
wants
first
to,
time.
We'll keep
he
it
wants to
open.
get it as right as he can.
Communication.
I mean, whether we agree or disagree up here,
Yeah.
on the, you know, we're here to help him as a, as
Yeah.
a townsperson, so
Well,
we'll do our
you-
best to get it done right the first time.
We've been talking about this for several years.
Yeah.
More than just two.
I'm sure.
I found that Jeff was driving up the road last night, and I said, who's the jerk that's got you out here tonight? Measuring the road. but-
Like I said, in the big scheme of things, it would make me happy,
Mhm.
but I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
it's a long way to have to bring your grader.
Yeah, but I wouldn't, I would put that too high up on priorities
Yeah, no, I understand.
with our other situation.
Okay,
Thanks.
all right, thank you guys, appreciate your time.
Anything else? That's all, I mean, any other concerns or thoughts about the town while you're here? I mean, since you got our ear,
No, not really, everything else
then we're
is,
doing okay then otherwise, huh?
yeah, and I've got one in school here and one in school in Bo, so they're doing well, and, no, but you kinda caught me off guard with that question. Probably need a
You'll
little-
think of something on
a
this.
little more time to
Hold
think
on,
about it,
Well, as
but,
long as it's positive, that's good.
yeah, no, I have nothing, go
Just,
ahead, Bob.
I was gonna say, at least with your warrant article, you have a barometer as what the public's gonna
Sure,
feel.
sure.
So it gives you some idea, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, and I understand, you know, it's, some people will listen to what I have to say that day, and other people will just,
Yeah.
nope. So,
I mean, ideally, you
That's
know,
at every meeting.
I know, trust me, I know, so
it'd be nice to pave all the roads,
I
you
know.
know, and but, you know, again, it's like you said, it's a
now,
balance.
somebody asked for a list of the roads we have down Main.
Yeah, I did you have that?
Yeah, they ready? Take, if you
I'll
want,
take that with me,
one.
sure.
It's got the link on it, you want this?
Yes, please.
Those are the class 5
Okay,
gravel roads we maintain now,
Those are all gravel roads, right? On
yeah,
the list?
just gravel.
Yeah, here it is. Wanna see?
And I think you total it all up, if my math was correct, comes to 5.3 miles, including your road.
Yeah,
Oh, you live on a dirt road. Oh my God, the townspeople planning your budget all year long, your work schedule.
no,
That's what they want.
all right, thank you guys.
So we'll-
You guys have a good
Okay,
evening.
you
too.
too,
Thank
thanks,
you.
thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Lee.
You're welcome, I'll be in touch.
You gonna hang around for a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, cause we got these ladies next on the agenda and we
Yeah.
wanna
Yeah.
touch base with you about a
Yeah.
few other things.
No problem.
Thank you.
Okay, she'll come out in a second. Here it is.
Hey, Fred. Hey.
Hey, it's just on you guys.
Oh, you can stay there or you can come out, it's up to you, whatever you want to do,
You know,
ladies.
we'll sit in the front row.
Okay.
We'll do that.
I'll keep you guys too late here, so.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Oh, he needs a school moderator now, technically.
Lee, excuse me, is the owner help having the old home day meeting?
Over there.
Library.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You okay to get started?
Yep.
Yeah.
Floor is yours.
I'm all set, I read it.
Oh, you were kids?
Yeah, I was gonna do it.
So, my name's Amanda Prosser, and I am the Biomonitoring Program Manager at the Public Health Labs, which is a part of the Department of Health and Human Services. And this is Melissa Levesque, she's the Biomonitoring Program Specialist. So, we are epidemiologists working within the Public Health Lab. So, what we do as epidemiologists, we design studies. We look for associations between exposures, things that people might come in contact with, and possible disease outcomes, or not necessarily disease outcomes, but maybe something you come in contact with is actually protective and helps prevent disease in you. So biomonitoring is a way of looking at environmental chemicals in people. So these environmental chemicals could be either man-made, like industrial processes, like what we're seeing right now with the PFCs in southern New Hampshire and peas, or they could be naturally occurring environmental chemicals, like just iron that's present in our water, that sort of thing. And then we're looking at those in people, so various types of human specimens, like urine, blood, tissues, hair, things like that. So we're here tonight to tell you about a special project that we're about to launch and we would like to launch in your area. And Melissa's gonna tell you some more about that.
Excuse me.
Hi.
So in 2014, the New Hampshire Public Health Laboratories was awarded a $5 million, 5-year cooperative agreement from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which is how the biomonitoring program is funded. You heard all this, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
With this grant, biomonitoring will be conducting a targeted public health study and a statewide surveillance initiative. So that's why we're talking to you guys today. It's about the targeted study, and it's called the Targeted Arsenic and Uranium Biomonitoring Public Health Study. So why arsenic and uranium? Based on the United States Geological Survey modeling, southern New Hampshire and southeastern New Hampshire have a higher probability of arsenic and arsenic in groundwater, and that's because of the geology of the bedrock. So another reason, sorry, the second night I've done this.
Take your time, no problem.
So another opportunity for exposure to arsenic would be from past land use practices, like using pesticides. So some older pesticides used to have arsenic in them, and although the arsenic is no longer allowed in pesticides, some people might still have those in their homes and still be using them. Also, based on a previous biomonitoring study that the New Hampshire Public Health Laboratories also conducted back in 2005 and 2006, 31% of 121 samples collected from southern New Hampshire exceeded the maximum contaminant level for arsenic, and that's 10 micrograms per liter or 10 parts per billion.
And that's in well water, she's talking about well water, so.
Yes, sorry, well water. They also saw a significant correlation of elevated arsenic in drinking water, in their drinking water from their wells, and and that association was with higher than average total arsenic in their urine. And as for uranium, they also found that wells with high arsenic levels also had high levels of uranium. To make all of this even better, 46% of people in New Hampshire rely on their drinking water. They rely on bedrock wells for their drinking water. So there's a lot of potential exposure in New Hampshire. So bringing it back to the study, our goal is to enroll 550 participants, 500 of them on well water, and we'll be targeting southern New Hampshire and southeastern New Hampshire counties, and those are Hillsborough, Rockingham, and Stratford. In addition to 3 towns in Merrimack County, which are Bow, Epsom, and Dunbarton, because of that previous biomonitoring study where we have learned that you guys are very active in your community and very engaged members. So we want to start somewhere where we know we'll have success, we hope to have success, and hit the ground running. The other 50 participants will be on public water, and we'll be targeting Nashua for that. So to reach people, we'll randomly mail postcards, which are on the back side of your page. That's the main part of the postcard with most of the information on it. We'll randomly mail people in the selected towns who have wells. So this postcard gives you a general explanation of what we're asking. And then we'll also reach people through these kinds of community meetings, events, we'll do news releases, social media, and we have a website as well. So we'll be testing for arsenic and uranium in their well water, but also in their urine. And that way we're hoping to see the relationship between exposure and body burden. And with that information, we'll make policy recommendations as we can based on that information. But the water is not the only way you can be exposed to arsenic and uranium. Other exposures could include your recreational experiences, your work history, the food you eat. So we'll also be doing a survey which does like an exposure assessment. So how will we get people to do this? We're gonna offer free water testing. So we'll offer a panel of testing which will include the arsenic and uranium, as well as stagnant sample testing for copper and lead. So that means the water that's been sitting in your pipes overnight, is anything leaching into your water, copper and lead especially. And also we'll do a flushed test. We'll do testing of flushed water, so you'll run your water for 5 minutes, and that'll pull enough water from the well to determine whether there is arsenic and uranium. And then we'll also look for manganese, cadmium, lead, copper, iron, hardness, and pH. So all of those analytes will be enough information to make an informed decision about water treatment options, if necessary.
What about radon? The radon's a breakdown of uranium.
Right, unfortunately, we're not able to offer that at this time due to the cost and the strain of testing on the public health lab, water analysis lab. Yeah, but if somebody would like to, we can provide information on how to collect that sample on their own, and of course how to pay for it on their own.
So in order to do all of this, we need to meet with participants in an interview meeting. And in this meeting, we'll acquire informed consent, where we'll explain the study and make sure that all of their questions are answered. We'll give the exposure survey, and we'll go over a sample collection and the food log checklist, which is pretty easy, and Mandy will talk about that in a little bit. We'll also set up a pickup date, and this is what we'll be picking up, and again, Mandy will go over that in just a couple minutes. The last thing we'll ask of participants is to avoid eating seafood or shellfish of any kind, because they tend to have arsenic in them, and that can skew our test results. And we're not trying to say that fish or seafood or anything like that is bad for you. So if they do eat it, we just have them mark it on their food log. But because of the kind of arsenic that's in it, it can make their total arsenic test look high. We will speciate, and we can determine whether that arsenic is bad or not bad. But we just ask if they can avoid it, would be good. So we'll be testing, as I mentioned, for total arsenic, for uranium, and for creatinine, which is how we measure how diluted their urine is, so we can find out the amount of actual arsenic in uranium in their body. So like I said, if the total arsenic is elevated, we'll speciate. And for water, like I said, we'll do that whole panel of testing. So during analysis, we'll be looking for a general association between exposure and body burden. And we'll examine other kinds of exposures, like root vegetables, because they're in the ground. Maybe we'll find that people who eat a lot of root vegetables have a higher level of arsenic or uranium in their body. As for reporting, participants will receive well water testing in real time, so as soon as we have that available, we'll send those out to them. And for urine, we'll have to wait till the end of the study so that we can compare their results to everybody in the study, so that they can see where they fall on that range. And then, after we've sent out all reports, we'll offer interpretation of reports, as well as hold community meetings, so we can discuss the aggregate data, which is all the data combined, and we can answer any questions that they may have had. In addition to in addition to personal results in their report, they'll also get nationwide results, so they can see how they compare on a national level.
So this is going on in all 50 states, or?
So the CDC awarded, I think it was 6 states
So,
this year?
yeah, right now there are 6 states that are doing their own smaller biomonitoring projects. We chose to do one on arsenic and uranium, but as far as comparing to the national data, every year the CDC has this national biomonitoring program, and they examine 2,000 people. They're representative of the US, and so they do health surveys, they do blood and urine specimens, and they look for all kinds of chemicals. So that's how we're able, for our PFC study, to compare what's going on in New Hampshire to what the national average is. So we're gonna use their same national average data for arsenic and uranium and be able to compare it. But a big, key part of this project is that's 2,000 people a year nationally represented. We're not able to break that down by state, so we don't really know how New Hampshire looks compared to nationally.
Right.
So that's why we're doing this.
So we're here to ask you for help. So whatever help you can give us, we'll take. Specifically, if you can introduce us to community leaders, or keep us informed about events that are going on, or community meetings that we could attend. Any type of exposure on your website, or just putting our links. Another town did that, and we thought it was a great idea. So anything you could do to help. Do you have any?
How fast can you move was, we got Old Home Day Saturday.
I know, we didn't find out until it was too late.
Yeah, we had been looking maybe a month or
It was
two
about a month
ago.
ago,
Yeah, so.
You can still go,
Well,
you're just not available.
We're not available.
Okay.
Yeah, well, she's
No, we're
way
ahead.
too close to her duty.
I don't look it, I look for at least 3 more months.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh, Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. Yeah, so,
What
but,
names?
She's
I'm
due
due on
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I
She
got
was
it.
inviting us to Old Home Days, and I'm like, I kinda need my last weekend to get some
Yeah,
stuff
that's
done.
all right, I got Darn Last two on Thursday, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
I got another one due in October,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Yeah, so we were wondering, besides Old Home Day, if there were other events where we could possibly set up a table to chat with people, or other ideas for just, we wanna get the word out more. I mean, we're
Yeah.
gonna mail these postcards, but just to create
Yeah,
awareness.
it's fine. Well, the only other thing coming up in November is the election, good old home day.
Yeah, election should be well
Yeah.
attended.
The, Dunbarton transition people might be a good one to,
Yeah, I was gonna say
touch
transition.
base with too.
Okay,
Yeah, cause they helped over that, whatchamacallit there, vision thingamajig there.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so they
they
got,
go with
so they
UNH.
should have a good list.
Yeah.
is there a key contact with the Dunbarton transition?
John Stevens and Ken
John
Kerber, right?
Stevens and,
Ken Kerber.
and Phil, Kimball, I think.
They're both on the
Not Phil
Old Home Day
Kimball,
committee,
Oh,
so,
spacing his name at the moment.
We can also leverage
Bob Ray.
Bob Ray.
and so another thing, Melissa was mentioning our exposure survey, so when we give that survey and we pass out this cooler, I'm gonna show you in a second, we do that in person, and we would prefer to meet at a public place if possible. So, we found that we could use like libraries sometimes have a meeting space that we could meet in. Is there any type of like facility here in your town where we would be able to schedule or reserve?
This
Yeah, this from
This
here,
one?
if it's available, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. We have a calendar that we
calendar,
keep,
yeah.
even on our website,
Okay.
Google Calendar, that would show all
Yeah.
these meetings, so the nights that you can see there's nothing on there,
yeah,
those would be
Days.
nights that you could reserve something and
Okay.
try to,
Pretty much
and-
open during the day too.
I was
Yeah,
just
during
gonna
the
ask,
day.
what about before and after meetings, like
Yeah.
the scheduled
Yeah,
meetings, okay.
During the
yeah,
day.
during the day would be fine.
The
Okay.
Congregational Church across the street's pretty engaged with the community as well, and so is the Episcopal Church.
in the
Yep.
Episcopal Church.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
both are.
I can get the information to you for them.
The library, of course,
The
has its
library
own
would be-
webpage, they're pretty active.
Yep.
Yeah, new librarian, so.
Yeah, of course, there's always police and fire,
Okay,
you know.
that's right. Yeah, all of that, that's extremely
Yeah.
helpful.
You guys don't have a problem putting it on the website?
No,
No, I'm fine
I think
with
it
that.
would be
I think it's a
good.
good idea,
on the
yeah.
website.
Alright,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. That's what it's there for, to help people
Yeah,
out, so.
well, to communicate.
Yep.
Let me show you this kit real
Lord
quick.
knows we've been told about that enough times.
Yes, I know.
We gotta communicate better with the website.
So when we get together for that in-person meeting, we'll have this kit. The kit contains the water collection bottles. Everything is gonna be clearly labeled, how to do it. This one says number 1, you fill it first. That's for that stagnant water to check your pipes, basically. This one's for that deeper well water sample for the other chemicals. We have directions, water is blue, so we have the directions on how to collect them. We tried to keep
You're
it
blushing.
simple.
He's gonna have a baby, can you tell?
Just funny.
Yeah.
Color coordinated.
We have, this is the test requisition. We're gonna have basically everything filled out, make it really easy for the people